The Commitment of Traders report is one of the most useful tools for understanding what is happening underneath the market. But for most traders, it still stays a bit vague. They hear words like non-commercials, net positions, smart money, and they never really turn it into something practical. So in this video, I'm going to simplify the whole thing properly. I'll show you exactly what the COT data is, what every number means inside my software, and most importantly, how to use it in real trading analysis. So by the end of this video, when you look at longs, shorts, changes, percentages, and net positions, you'll know exactly what they're telling you and how to turn that into actual market context. And later in the video, I'll show you exactly how I use it to build directional bias and spot when a market is becoming too one-sided. The reason COT data matters is because price alone does not tell you the full story. Price tells you what the market has done, but positioning helps tell you how participants are building exposure underneath that move. So instead of looking only at candles, support and resistance, or indicators, COT data gives you another layer. It helps you understand whether bullish exposure is increasing, whether bearish exposure is increasing, and whether the market is becoming crowded in one direction, and whether positioning is actually supporting the move you are seeing on the chart. And that is why I like it. Not because it gives you some magic entry signal, but because it gives you cleaner context. So before we get into how to use it, let's make the foundation very clear first. The Commitment of Traders report is basically a report that shows how different categories of traders are positioned in the futures market, and that point actually matters. So this is futures market data. So even if you're trading forex, gold, indexes, or crypto through spot or CFDs, what you're looking at here is futures positioning, and it is being used as a market sentiment and positioning tool. Now, for the purpose of this video, I want to keep it focused on the exact data that I use inside of my own software, which you see right here, which is mainly the non-commercial side. That is what I track. So what I'm looking at here is the amount of longs, the amounts of shorts, they change in longs, they change in shorts, the percentage long, the percentage short, and the net positioning, which is basically longs minus shorts. And once you understand what each of these numbers actually means, the whole report becomes much easier to use. The goal here is not to memorize the report. The goal is to understand the message behind the numbers. Before I break down each number, there are three things you need to understand first. Number one, COT data is not real time. So this is not something you use like a 1 minute order flow tool. It is much more useful as a higher time frame context. Number two, it is not a direct entry system. It is a positioning tool. So it helps you build bias, understand sentiment, and judge the quality of the backdrop behind the move. And number three, you always want to compare the data with the actual chart, because a strong COT reading by itself means much less if price action is not confirming that idea. Now, let's go through the actual fields one by one, because this is the part that makes everything click. Now, let's start with the amount of longs. This tells you how many long contracts are currently being held by the non-commercial side that I am tracking in the software. So in simple terms, this is the bullish exposure. If this number is going up over time, that means this group is increasing long exposure. If the number is going down, it means bullish exposure is being reduced. Now, on its own, this is useful, but it's not enough, because a market can have rising longs while shorts are also rising. So the first thing to understand is that longs tell you one side of the story, but not the whole picture on their own. So whenever you look at the long side, always remember useful but incomplete. Now let's look at the amount of shorts. This is the bearish side of the same picture. It tells you how many short contracts are currently being held by that category. If shorts are increasing, bearish exposure is increasing. If shorts are falling, bearish exposure is being reduced. And just like with longs, this number becomes much more meaningful when you compare it with the other side. Because if shorts are rising but longs are rising even faster, the message is different than if shorts are rising while longs are collapsing. So again, the idea is the same. The number matters, but the relationship between each other matters more. And now we get into the part that becomes much more useful from an analytical point of view. The change in longs and the change in shorts is one of the most useful parts in the whole data set, because the level that we just saw of longs and shorts, that is just what the positioning currently is, but the change tells you what is shifting now, and that distinction is very important. Think of it like this. The current position tells you the inventory, and the weekly change tells you the flow. So if longs increase sharply from one report to the next, that means bullish exposure is actively being added. If shorts increase sharply, bearish exposure is actively being added. And when you combine the two, you start getting much cleaner messages. And if longs are rising strongly and shorts are falling, that is a strong bullish shift. If longs are falling and shorts are rising, that is a strong bearish shift. If both are rising, participation is increasing, but the directional message in that case is less clean. And if both are falling, exposure is being reduced and conviction in the move may be fading. This is one of the first places where COT starts becoming practical instead of just informational. Now let's talk about the percentage long and the percentage short. This is important because raw contract numbers can sometimes look big without actually being that extreme in relative terms. So the percentages will help you put that exposure into context. They help you understand how much weight that positioning has compared to the overall market exposure that is being measured in that particular market. So a raw number gives you size and the percentage gives you the weight. And that matters because sometimes a position looks impressive in absolute terms, but relative to the overall market, it is not actually that dominant. And this is why I like having both. The raw number tells me the scale, and the percentage tells me how meaningful that scale is in context. Now let's get to the net positions, which is probably the number people focus on the most. The net position is simply the amount of longs minus the amount of shorts. So if the result is strongly positive, it means bullish exposure is outweighing bearish exposure. If the result is strongly negative, bearish exposure is outweighing bullish exposure. And if that net positioning is improving over time, then positioning is becoming more bullish. If it is deteriorating over time, positioning is becoming more bearish. So yes, the net position is very useful, but the important thing is that the net position is the summary, not the whole story, because a better net position can come from aggressive long building or from short covering or from a combination of both. And those are not always equally meaningful. So the net position gives you the snapshot, but the long and short breakdown tells you how that snapshot was created. This is a very important distinction because this is where a lot of real interpretation comes from. So now that the numbers are clear, the real question becomes, how do I actually use this in practice? And for me, there are four main ways. I use it for directional bias, for spotting when the market is becoming crowded, for identifying divergence between positioning and price, and for getting cleaner, higher time frame context for swing trading style decisions. Okay, so the first and probably the cleanest use is directional bias. So let's say I'm looking at a market where price is already structurally bullish. So clearly the market is creating higher highs and higher lows, pushing to the upside aggressively. So clearly it is in a bullish trend. And if I also see that the COT positioning is becoming bullish, so longs are increasing, the shorts are decreasing, maybe I look at the net positions, I clearly see that net positions are increasing, like for example what's happening here, then in that case, it does not force me into a trade, but it gives me a cleaner context for favoring longs instead of forcing shorts. So in that case, I'm not using COT to press the buy button, but I'm using it to help answer the question, which side of the market currently has the better backdrop, and if institutions are buying, so the COT data is becoming bullish and the market is in an uptrend, I clearly get the answer to that question. Buys are favored. That one idea alone already makes COT data useful for a lot of traders. The second use is spotting when positioning is becoming too one-sided. So if you start seeing very stretched bullish positioning or very stretched bearish positioning, that tells you the market may be getting crowded. So for example, here with this 180K net positioning. Now, this is important because a crowded market does not mean it has to reverse immediately right now. A market can stay crowded for a long time, but once the positioning becomes very one-sided, it becomes more selective. I pay more attention and I start asking a different question. Is price still responding well to this positioning, or is the market beginning to struggle even though exposure is already stretched? And that is where it becomes interesting, because extreme positioning, it is not automatically a reversal signal, but it is absolutely a signal to become more alert. So when positioning gets stretched, I don't blindly fade it, but I definitely stop treating the move as clean and effortless. The third use is divergence. This is when price and positioning stop telling the same story. For example, imagine price is still pushing higher, but the net positioning is no longer improving the way it was before. So let's take, for example, a push like this one here to the upside. And that does not automatically mean the market is about to collapse, but it can tell you that the move underneath the surface is losing support. So institutions are stopping their buying. And the same logic works in reverse for bearish market, of course. So if price is still weak, but bearish positioning is no longer building the way you would expect, that can be an early sign that the move is running out of fuel. The fourth use is simply better higher time frame context. COT is generally much more useful for bigger picture analysis than for very short-term execution. So if you're trading on higher time frames like the daily chart or the 4-hour chart, COT can help you filter ideas. It can help you avoid fighting the broader positioning backdrop for no real reason. And it can help you understand whether your chart idea is aligned with the underlying market positioning or whether you're trying to force something against the wider picture. Here is a clean example of bullish confirmation. So price is already structurally bullish, creating higher highs and higher lows. Now let's look at the positioning. So longs are increasing. Shorts, they're not expanding aggressively, pretty much remaining the same. And net positions are clearly improving. So for me, the interpretation here is not buy because the COT data says so. The interpretation is that the bullish side of the chart has a better backdrop. And that means I'm more interested in buying, for example, pullbacks in this kind of situation by continuation structures, or looking for bullish confirmations on the actual chart instead of randomly trying to fade the move. Now, let's look at a different situation. Here, positioning is already very stretched in one direction, so we are very negative. And this is exactly where a lot of people, they become lazy. So they see, for example, a strong bearish positioning, and they think that automatically means the move is healthy. But the smarter reading in this case is that if positioning is already very one-sided, the market may be getting crowded. So I want to see whether price is still responding well or whether the move is starting to lose the quality. And that is what makes the example interesting, not just the extreme itself, but how price behaves once that extreme is already there. And here is another useful type of example. So in this case, the positioning starts improving before the chart becomes obviously strong to everyone. So before you actually have the inversion of trend. And that does not mean you blindly jump in just because the positioning changed, but it does help you build awareness earlier. So if you are in shorts, you might be starting to close your shorts, and instead of being late and only noticing the move once price has already expanded, the COT data in this case can help you prepare your bias before the move becomes visually obvious to the crowd. So once the push to the upside has actually started. So let's simplify everything into practical rules. Number one, use COT for context and bias first. Number two, never look only at one number. Read longs, shorts, changes, percentages, and net positions together. Number three, the weekly changes matter a lot because they tell you what is shifting right now. Number four, use the percentages to judge how meaningful the exposure really is in relative terms. Number five, always compare the data with the chart. And number six, when the market becomes very one-sided, become more selective and more alert, because that is often where the most interesting shifts start to happen. So if I simplify the whole process into one roadmap, it would look like this. First, you identify the market you're analyzing. Second, you look at the long side and the short side. Third, you check what changed from the previous report. Fourth, you use the percentages to understand how meaningful those numbers really are. Fifth, you check the net positions, and this again is your summary reading, and then you compare all of that with the actual chart. At that point, the main question becomes very simple. Is positioning supporting the move? Is it becoming too crowded? Or is it starting to diverge from the price, which again are the three examples that I just showed you on the chart. And once you can answer that properly, the COT data stops being random information and starts becoming a very useful part of your market analysis. So that is the full breakdown of how I read and use the COT data. If you understand what these numbers actually mean, then the report becomes much easier to use and much more useful in practice. And if you want, in the next video, I break down live COT readings on specific markets and show you how I interpret them week by week. So let me know in the comments which market you want me to analyze next using the COT data.